Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Pedon, joined by the fantasy master Lothario himself, Gray Albright. How's it going over there, Gray?
If you like fantasy sports and sarcasm. Oh, sorry. I was enjoying that wonderful theme song.
It is a wonderful theme song, Gray. Where did that come from?
I believe it charted in South Korea in 2012. It was right before it ushered in the K-pop sound. it was the original. It's BTS. BTS heard that. And they were like, BTS heard that and they were like, oh, this is wonderful. What was the other one? And Blackpink. Getting that. I think I'm getting that wrong. Am I getting that right?
That's 100% correct. You got that
one.
Wow!
Right. Look at me. What am I? Which one of us is Korean here? Huh?
Hey, there's a reason we have been to the top of the sports charts in Korea, Gray, and this is clearly part of the reason. Giving them some time right off the bat here, Gray. I mean, clearly where the popularity comes from.
We should actually, speaking of Korea, I am segueing. Speaking of Korea, I don't know if people saw, but they had their All-Star game this past weekend, right? And they have instead of like jerseys, they dress up in suits and ties. Honestly, I don't fully understand. I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing with them. I don't understand fully why they dress up in suits and ties and play baseball. I love it. I don't know. I'm a big fan. And they also had like their kids dressed exactly the same, and they were like introduced on the field, and they like went out during the introductions in a suit and tie with their kids also in a suit and tie. And again, I don't know why. I have no idea.
So I think they ended up playing the game in actual uniforms, but they also do like costumes as part of it. Like it's just full entertainment. Like they don't try and make the All-Star game worth home field advantage in the most important game of the season, like some sports do. But yeah, I mean, it seems a lot more fun than our All-Star break.
Yeah, no, totally. They seem to be like, because I also saw,
that's great audio.
I got my Molson.
Professionalism.
My professional
professionalism.
I'm cracking open my Molson Gold. No, I haven't drank in about 10 years. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so they also seem to take a cue from me where like they had instead of just a home run derby, I saw one of their things was like they had a race where the guys were wearing parachutes on their back, which again, I don't know why, but I love this. Like, this is like the kind of thing like MLB. I've been saying for years now, like MLB has to embrace like just nonsense when it comes to the All-Star, because it is like, it's a goof, right? So it's like, have like, I don't know, Anthony Rizzo, Rowdy Tellez and Daniel Vogelbach in like a foot race or something. Like have things where like you wouldn't like, they're not necessarily like they're doing these like home run derby like nonsense, but it's like that's just like it's so macho and like, oh, look at us, we're hitting the most home runs. It's like, yeah, but I mean, it's batting practice pitches. You're not really hitting the most home runs. It's just that's just like, it's a, and then the guys, it's becoming like the slam dunk contest where like the best players in the league don't even want to participate because it messes up their swing. It's like, instead of that, do fun things like, get like CJ Abrams now. And he's he's kind of decent. But get like the worst home run hitters and have them be in the home run derby. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see like, the guys who can't even hit like one home run try and hit the Juan Pierre home run derby. Like, let's see that, right? like have Juan Pierre be the pitcher of the home run derby. Have that. Like, have like Luis Urias and Corbin Carroll and Bo Bichette. Have that be the home run derby. Have that be the home run derby. And let's see what they could do. Like that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I don't want to see boring, he can hit 20 homers in 3 minutes. Okay, so what, man? It's batting practice. Like, come on.
Yeah, I would like to see some different things as well. And I think all sports should go to just a fun all-star break. I mean, we're past the days where players took it seriously. So why are we still trying to take this seriously? And we're still just rolling out the same contest year after year. Yeah, let's put in like, I want a bunt contest. I nobody can bunt. I want to see somebody bunt just to see how bad it goes.
I thought you said butt contest. I was like, wait, Spencer Strider's injured and Robbie Ray is also on the IL.
No,
whose butt are we using here?
Donkey Teeth isn't your co-host for this show, Gray. That wasn't the right comment. That was just a miss. Here from your side.
Bunt. Oh yes, a bunt contest. Totally, like
a home plate to center field or center field to home plate, strike throw.
Like the bunt contest have like you could do like it's like miniature golf on like the infield where you have like you set up like holes for like at different parts of the on the infield and see if people can bunt into the cup or whatever you set up, not a protective cup, an actual cup.
Maybe catcher kickoff move with like a target at second where if you put it on them, that's like 50 points. If you airmail it, you lose 20 points. Just different
things. The time when a tough man contest of who can run the fastest,
running over people in an all-star game,
and who can hit the furthest home run. Like those are interesting when it's not actually real athletes. Like when they have people who can do the things. It's like that's when it's interesting. Just having Pete Alonso hit home runs. It's like, yeah, I mean. He can hit home runs. We know this. We're very aware he can hit home runs. We've seen it many times.
Yeah, I want to see it if we're gonna still do that. Let's go to longest home run. You get 5 balls out to get your longest one or something. Let's just mix it up.
Right.
Let's move off this, Gray. We could talk about what we want to change in the All-Star game all day. I'm pretty sure, just because it needs some changes.
Yeah.
Let's at least move on to the All-Star game itself. Let's talk about the lineups. They've been announced. Obviously, the All-Star break is coming up next week, but we're looking at it, and obviously, the first thing I want to ask you about is who got snubbed, Gray? Who really belonged on this team that didn't? And who are you tossing off of said team to make room for them?
Well, I was saying this. I don't know if I said this on the website, but I might have said it on Twitter or something. I don't know. And then if I said it on Twitter, then there was a bunch of people who replied, calling me woke or something derogatory. I was saying Francisco Lindor got snubbed, right? At least as of the recording of this, but with the All-Star game so often, guys will drop out and then so some of these snubs actually might still make the team. Anyway, Francisco Lindor didn't make the team. And I was saying either on the site or on Twitter or somewhere, I don't know. I was saying how Lindor at the end of his career, he's going to get to, a place where, they're going to be looking at his credentials for the Hall of Fame. And someone's going to say something like, well, he only made 3 All-Star games. And it's like, yeah, but that's ridiculous because he should be in the All-Star game. Like, he should have been in the All-Star game last year. He wasn't. He was snubbed. He should have been in the All-Star. He should have been in this year, and he was snubbed. Like, there's no reason why Francisco Lindor, yeah, he didn't have the best, like, first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but he's been totally great since then. I mean, he's basically a top 15, top 20 player right now. Lindor right now, according to WAR, if that's what you get down with, he is the 10th best player in baseball right now. So I mean, it's just so ridiculous that he would get snubbed. There's no, and he's also good for fantasy. It's not just with WAR. I mean, he has 15 homers and 16 steals, and he's hitting 250. Average could be a little bit higher, but still a 30-30 pace after what he did last year, which was 30-30. There's no reason why Francisco, like, he should have been if the Mets only had one representative, which I don't know if they do, to be honest. I'm not sure who's on the team with the Mets. I think it's just Pete Alonso. But if the Mets were only to have one representative, Lindor should have been the representative. I mean, he's much better than Pete Alonso. Also, when it comes to the Hall of Fame and like people looking back on guys' careers and being like, in hindsight, when people look back on Lindor and they say, oh, he was only on like 3 All-Star teams or something, and then like at the time, and they're going to be like, compared to his peers, he wasn't that good. Obviously, that's what they're going to say in hindsight, but in reality, he's just getting snubbed. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be on the team. Last year, he should have made the team. This year, he should make the team. Yeah. Anyway, Lindor for me is one of the big snubs. Also, Christian Walker, Ellie De La Cruz. Is Ellie De La Cruz did he really get snubbed?
No, he just should be starting. That's all.
Okay.
No, okay. There's no reason he shouldn't be starting.
Okay, yeah, because you had Ellie listed. I was like, wait, I didn't think he got snubbed.
No, yeah. he did not get snubbed. But
okay. Christian Walker did get snubbed.
He did.
Another one, like, I mean, this isn't hard to figure out. It's like if you need a first baseman, you put Christian Walker on the team. You drop Pete Alonso and you put Lindor on the team. That's like obvious to me. I don't know, man. That would have been 2 fixes I would have done. And I like, I mean, people who listen to this, I'm sure they know I like Pete Alonso. I think he's great for what he does, but there's no reason why Christian Walker couldn't have made the team over him and have Lindor make the team if the Mets needed a representative, which again, like that, also the fact that every team needs a representative. Have people seen the Rockies? Are they aware of what's going on in Oakland? Like, they need
on the south side of Chicago.
The White Sox, really? Wait, I didn't even, like, I'm coming at this kind of cold. I knew Lindor and Walker had been snubbed, but I didn't know who made for the White Sox and the Rockies. Who made the team for those guys?
For the Rockies, it was Ryan McMahon.
Okay. Okay. I mean, fine. I mean, but he shouldn't be on the team though. Like,
you should be able to guess the White Sox. They literally have one player worth.
Oh, I guess Crochet, huh?
It's Garrett Crochet.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually, I guess that's fine. That's not terrible.
But also, let's stop rewarding, because it used to be
who is Oakland's Mason Miller?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess. Whatever. It's just all so stupid. It's just so. I mean, it's just such a dumb thing. Like, to have teams have to be representative is just such a dumb thing. So it's like rewarding. Talk about like participation trophies. Like, it's so dumb. Like, why would
make
you
it to like?
Why would you have to? Why would you force teams? Like, why would you you have the All-Stars? You force a guy onto the team to make so the team has a representative, and then you make it about like the World Series, like the it's like that's all so stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, it's really MLB is just so dumb. I don't think they do the All-Star team winning.
No, they don't do that anymore because they realized how stupid it was.
Yeah, right.
Finally.
They did stop doing that, but still, it's like, why?
But that only happened because of the stupid tie.
I know. Yeah, that's true. The tie.
Which was also the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. It's like, we're not going to allow any more replacements. You get your pitchers you get. This is a meaningless game. This is stupid.
It's so funny too. Like, I think honestly, I think with the All-Star team or the All-Star game in general, like that is the moment. I think that more so than Santa Claus is the moment when kids become cynical. That's like Santa Claus, you got to be kind of dumb if you think Santa Claus is real. It's a religion thing. I mean, it's like, it's like, oh, that has nothing, like Jewish kids have nothing to do with Santa Claus, right? So it's like Santa Claus is very, it's
I mean,
it's like you have to be super young to believe in Santa Claus. But at a certain age, like I think it was like in your teens when you start realizing the All-Star game is stupid. that's the moment when you really become an adult, when you think the All-Star game is dumb. Anyway, we should move on to this.
I mean, let's just say, like, if you're down, say, 20 games back or more at the All-Star break, you don't have to have a representative. Like, can we put that in there? Like, if you can't at least be within a 20-game lead, like back of your division, like get out. Like we don't need you anymore.
Like, I mean, it's kind of indicative of like the the revenue sharing with like teams don't spend money and they get money from other teams that do spend money, and then on top of that they also get a representative in the All-Star game, even though they make no effort to become a better team. It's like, yeah, I mean, Crochet is good, fine, but Ryan McMahon and the Rockies are a bad team. Ryan McMahon is fine, but he shouldn't be in the All-Star game.
No, I mean, Lindor should have his spot, or
exactly,
yeah. Somebody should have his spot,
or Christian Walker, or someone. Yeah, absolutely.
Literally stick anybody in there. Carlos Correa like made the team. Are you kidding me? Marcus Semien made the team. I mean, Helio Ramos has been great, but he's played like 50 games. Brian Reynolds is the most Brian Reynolds thing ever, and he didn't have to represent the Pirates this year because they actually, have somebody that could go for them.
Brian Reynolds actually has been good, but
he has been. But like in the grand scheme of things, he hasn't been as good as Christian Walker or. I mean, I just trash Brian Reynolds whenever I get a chance. I
trash Brian Reynolds, and I actually accidentally drafted him this year. By the way, you're listening to a fantasy baseball podcast by someone who accidentally drafts players. But I accidentally drafted Brian Reynolds, and it was like one of the best accidental moves I've done.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. Let's move on to some fantasy things real quick. We'll just give out some awards. Most valuable here at the All-Star break. I mean, I feel like this is really at the top, but maybe some draft capital involved. Who's your most valuable, Gray?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Ohtani is probably Ohtani. He's at the top of the player radar, so I mean, I guess I'll go with Ohtani. It's, I'm actually next week we'll go over my top 100 for the second half. I'll have it out for Patreons probably sometimes later this week. But anyway, we'll do my top 100 for the second half next week. And I was juggling between Ohtani and Judge and Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson. It's actually the top 5 or so are really good. Anyway, it's like Ohtani or Judge. It's a matter of like both of them can hit 310. Both of them can hit 20 homers in the second half, but one of them is going to steal, 10 to 15 bags, and the other one is not, right?
Yep. And I mean, I will say there is position to be factored in there. Having Ohtani clog up a DH kind of sucks sometimes, but yeah, I mean, just from a raw number standpoint, it seems pretty clear. And obviously, like if you need speed, Bobby Witt obviously moves up that list and he becomes one. So it just becomes a hard thing to do re-ranking because it does matter on your team. But I agree. It's like one of those guys that you mentioned for the top spot. I think if I'm giving the award away, I'd go with Gunnar Henderson just because he was going, back in second up through like I saw him going like the fourth at times, which seemed crazy to me. But like he's third on the player rater, and you got him the cheapest among those guys. You could say maybe like you could start throwing the value guys, which is the next award. But for guys who went inside the top 3 rounds, I think Gunner's my guy, just because you'd have to spend a first rounder or even a second rounder on him if you really didn't want to. And he's giving you the dual position eligibility, which is pretty nice to have, Gray. Mm-hmm. Best draft price. So this is, not necessarily where they are on the player rater, but who's I mean, there's plenty of guys who are basically free that are just killing it this year, Gray.
Have I mentioned during this podcast yet that I got Marcelo Ozuna for $1 in my labor draft?
Yeah, I feel like there was some bias for you on that one. It was definitely coming.
And speaking of accidental draft picks, if someone went to $2, I wouldn't have went to $3. I just happened to throw them out there for $1. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm gonna go with Ranger Suarez, who was the number 1 starting pitcher on the player rater, like almost the entire first half here, Gray. He's dropped to number 6, and he was free. I mean, he was free. Seth Lugo belongs on that list of just free guys who's absolutely been killing it. And then just to shoot myself in the head because I swore I would. Well, no, I swore there was no chance he was going to have any value because he wasn't going to throw enough innings, Gray. And I was wrong, and that is Chris Sale. So he probably belongs on this list as
well. Yeah, he was. Him. So here's like, we've talked about this many times, but how it's like, better to be lucky than good. It's like if you were in March and you were looking at Chris Sale or Carlos Rodon, I don't think anyone would have been like, that's crazy that you're taking Chris Sale every time over Rodon. I personally didn't want either of them. So I'm not saying like, I was correct in this. Like I didn't want either of them. And a lot of people wanted Rodon over Chris Sale, which, wrong, right? I mean, it's wrong. But I can't blame them for back in March, those people who wanted, they both seemed like lottery picks really at that point in the draft. I didn't really see the value in either of them, which, I was wrong on the Chris Sale one, and, I was right on Rodon, but whatever. It doesn't matter really. It's irrelevant. I liked Ranger Suarez. I still do. I think he's probably going to regress a little bit in the second half, but I still do like Ranger Suarez. And Seth Lugo, I told everyone he was a sleeper to grab Seth Lugo. The thing is with like Seth Lugo, if you look at his numbers, yeah, he's doing much better this year than he ever did, but he's really never been bad. Like that was my point in the preseason. Like if you look at Seth Lugo's previous seasons, he's always been good. Relatively for his price, and not like he's ever been this good, obviously, but he's been solid. Anyway, we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Rookie of the year. We had some hopes for some bats, Gray, but I feel like this is going to pitching.
Yeah. We should have placed a bet because I think the money was on the bats, as it should be in the preseason. I mean, the bats are usually the 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a bat that's going to win Rookie of the Year. But yeah, I would be surprised if Shota or Skeens. I mean, one of them. Skeens is probably. I mean, Skeens feels like he has the momentum now. But I mean, Shota was really good for a while there. He's gonna have, an extra month of stats. I think, padding his like wins and his Ks or whatever. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I think Skeens might. At this point, if I were betting, I would probably put money on Skeens.
Yeah, I mean, he has the momentum, so I understand that. I mean, it's gonna be tough because NL especially, you got Yoshi, you got Shota, you got Gavin Stone, you got Skeens, you got Jared Jones. I mean, it's gonna be tough to take that NL Rookie of the Year home.
I was saying, I was seeing on Sunday Night Baseball, Louis Gill was pitching, and they put up the odds for AL Rookie of the Year, and I saw Louis Gill was at the top as the favorite, and I was like, wow, AL rookies are really bad. That's really bad. That's not great. I mean, Louis Gill was great up until about like 4 starts ago. Don't get me wrong. He was good, but he's really he's the best rookie in the AL. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that's still an open race. Like if Wyatt Langford were to have a huge second half, I think he could probably move into the lead.
Yeah, I agree. The AL is still pretty open. Randomly, like Wilyer Abreu could jump into it.
David
Hamilton. He's been solid. So I mean, there's some other people that could jump in there as well. So yeah, AL's open. NL is going to be a tight one. It may be a little bit of biases and a little bit like who finishes the strongest.
If Heston Kjerstad hits 15 homers in the second half, he could potentially win the AL Rookie. I mean, he could.
Yeah, he could. Mm-hmm. All right, great. Let's move on to some of the players that are joining the majors this week. That was Shane Baz. He's back. He had his first start back, 6 innings, 3 earned, 6 Ks, 1 walk. Velocity was sitting around 96 on the fastball, which is down about a mile per hour from pre-surgery, but still obviously plus velocity. What are you thinking for Shane Baz? Where does he fit in rest of season for you? We've seen him look really good, but only ever in like short glimpses because I think he has less than 70 innings at the major league level over 3 major league seasons.
He has 46 and a third innings in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That's silly. and then above that, I'm looking above that is the projections for him, and it has him projected for more innings than he's ever thrown in 3 seasons.
And being on the Rays doesn't help that either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I like Shane Baz a lot. I think he's probably like top 50 starter for me while he's actually pitching. So I'm fine with him in every league. Like I grabbed him in our RCL league, 12-team mixed league. I would grab him even in a 10-team mixed league if he was available. I think he could be a like top, 20 starter while he's actually throwing. And then, so minus the innings when he's not throwing because of whatever reason he won't throw, he becomes like a top 50 starter ish. Like he's probably, it's like him or, Robbie Ray's coming back. There's a bunch of guys coming back in the second half. In theory, at least. Jeffrey Springs, Robbie Ray, Kershaw, I think at some point. Eduardo Rodriguez, I hear is still
maybe
pitching. I don't know. I haven't heard about him in a long time, but any of those guys could really be great for 2 months of the season, like August and September. So can Shane Baz be as good as any of the guys I just mentioned? For sure. Like he can be a top, 20, 25 starter for August and September. I like with what you were saying basically with the innings. I don't know how many innings he can possibly throw though. I mean, maybe 30. I mean, I'd probably put the over under at like 35 innings. Maybe I don't know. I mean, are they really like how many innings are they really gonna throw them? I don't know. Maybe 40 innings. Like, what do you think? What's his over under for innings?
Yeah, I would say like 40,
Yeah.
45 max. Like I just can't see him throwing more innings than he ever has. It just feels like that'd be a big push for him coming back after surgery. It's not like he's old. He's 25. There's no reason that he couldn't still be part of the Rays' plans moving forward. So they don't want to just toss him out there and run his arm down like he's an old vet. So yeah, I think somewhere in that area. Plus, they should get a number of pitchers back potentially at some point, where they have options to sit people down and let people take some rests. So yeah, I would say like number 59 on player rater right now is Marcus Stroman Gray. I think on an upside in a shallow league, I take Baz, but in a deeper league, give me Stroman and his innings, and that's kind of where I'm sitting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like if we're trying to shove him inside the top 60, I feel like that feels like the right guy to look at.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think Baz has more upside, but his innings are going to be nowhere near. I don't think. But
is he going to give you a chance to win games? Like, is he going to go 5 innings?
I would probably project him for like 3 wins. Like, and it's not like I think like I said, I'm doing the top 100 right now, so I'm projecting guys, and I think the top pitcher has like 8 wins projected. So it's not like a lot of wins are, it's not like guys are going to have a lot of opportunities for wins from this point forward. So 3 wins isn't like awful, but it's also like it's neither here nor there. It's kind of like, just
yeah, it's factored into like the player rater value though. So like if we're just thinking player rater end of season from here on, that's kind of where it falls at.
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's move over to Minnesota where they have called up Brooks Lee. There was a little thing that where there was maybe an injury in Minnesota, but regardless, they've called him up. 20 games in AAA. He has 7 home runs, a stolen base, 329, 394, 635. He has 5 games up so far. He has a home run, and he's hitting 474, 476, and 684. Brooks Lee hit the ground running. Gray, is this going to keep up, or should we just enjoy it while it's here?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but Royce Lewis got injured. So
why do you have to say it, Gray? I alluded to it. I moved on. We didn't have to say it. You have to say it, Gray.
So Brooks Lee looks like he's he has the makeup of a potential star. I think like even it's a super small sample size as of right now. It's like less than a week of games, but it shows you like how locked in his contact is, that he has an under 10% strikeout rate in his first week of games. That's really good. He looks like set in, forget it, put him in the leadoff spot in the lineup. He's also a switch hitter, so that helps us avoid, Baldelli playing matchups. So put Brooks Lee in as a leadoff hitter and just like set in, forget it, leave him there for the rest of the year is my hope. But yeah, I don't know what his plan. Like I bid aggressively on him in this week in fantasy baseball. This week's fab, I bid pretty aggressively on Brooks Lee because I feel like he's got the talent, and all he needs is the opportunity. So hopefully, like he has solid power. He doesn't really have much speed. So you're looking at a guy who's like, he kind of reminds me of Carlos Correa. So like 20-ish homers. This is over the course of a full season, by the way. So say 20-ish homers, next to no speed, and a really good batting average, right? So, it's not nothing if you need that on your team, which I personally needed it in the leagues where I bid aggressively on him because I drafted Bo Bichette. So I wanted to replace Bo Bichette with Brooks Lee because I'm done with Bo Bichette. So I was like, I'm hoping and praying that he gets like boosted up to like the leadoff spot because like I was saying with Ben Rice when he was called up a couple weeks ago, it's like he had catcher eligibility and he looked like he could hit. And and then when, like I was saying last week on Razzball, it's like if he's hitting leadoff, how bad could that be for Ben Rice? That is. So Brooks Lee has all the tools to hit leadoff for the Twins. Carlos Correa can't stay healthy. Royce Lewis can't stay healthy. Buxton can't stay healthy. Trevor Larnach can't stay. Alex Kirilloff can't stay healthy. Well, no one on the Twins can stay healthy. Willie Castro can't stay healthy. So it's like Brooks Lee could be up for a week and get sent down, which I don't think happens, but it could happen. Or he can hit as well as he has been and he's capable of, which he is doing. And slowly but surely he moves up the lineup. And before you know it, it's like August and Brooks Lee is their leadoff man for the final 2 months. So yeah, I like Brooks Lee a lot.
Yeah, I feel like it says something about how bad the teams that we talked about off the top are: the White Sox, the A's, the Rockies, the Marlins. I feel like it says something very specific about them when you look at the Twins lineup and you're like, hey, the Twins are like a contending team. And
they're good.
And like you're like, they have Willie Castro, Trevor Larnach, Jose Miranda, Carlos Santana, Max Kepler, Brian Buxton, Ryan Jeffers, Brooks Lee. And you're like, Brooks Lee could be anywhere in this lineup. Like he could literally go anywhere as a rookie in his first look at the majors, and you'd be like, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And yet they are a good contending team.
Yeah, I know.
That's how hard it is.
They actually were hitting really well. I mean, Jose Miranda was like out of his mind this past couple days. I think, Brooks Lee, not only could he hit anywhere in the lineup, which I agree with, I think he's also like suited for hitting high in the lineup. So it's like not only could he, because there's the opportunity because the guys above him aren't very good, but he's very capable of doing it. So I like Brooks Lee a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Grab him up if he's there. I mean, what are you spending fab wise? Like 20% of what you have left? Maybe more?
Yeah, I didn't spend that much. I did spend actually, I mean, I think I spent like a little bit under 10% in one league. So in one league, I spent $7 out of 100. And I think I had like $60 left. So yeah, it's a little bit over. So a little bit over 10%. But I think the next highest bid was $4. So I won him easily. So I could have bid probably $5 there. Well, I could have bid $5, but I didn't. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Yeah. It's not like they're gonna give me this money at the end of the year and be like, here you go. Here's your $3. You have left over. Yeah. Go buy a tall boy. Yeah. So anyway, so that was in that league. But he went for really low in my in another league. Like I didn't need him in one of my other fab leagues, but he went for like $8 there, which is insane. 8 out of 1,000, by the way. And people no longer have 1,000, obviously. So say $8 out of 500, maybe $8 out of 400. Still, he was really affordable in that one league, which I don't understand why. And then in another Fab league, which seems more reasonable, he went for $112 in my other league, my TGFBI league, also probably close. People had probably close to like, $400 or $500 there. So he went for like 25% basically in that league. And then in another league, in my main event league, he went for $65. Again, people probably had like $300 or $400 in that league. So yeah, I mean, I like those prices for him, to be honest. I just, I either bid a little bit too little, or I didn't have enough Fab in those leagues in order to, aggressively buy them. But I like that. I like them a lot.
Yeah, and I know for us in the NFC leagues specifically, James Wood was coming into leagues where he wasn't owned from the beginning of the season. So I know he was a big pickup for some of those.
James Wood was probably, the big, yes, he was. He went for like over $300 in a couple of my leagues.
Same. And then one he was actually already owned from all the way from the beginning of the season, which is boring. And we didn't get the chance to even bid on him, which sucks. Moving on though, over to Dodgerland, Justin Wrobleski. I think that's right. In Double-A this year, he had 67 and 2/3 innings. He had a 3.06 ERA, 1.03 WHIP, 23% K rate, and a 4.8% walk rate. He only had 10 1/3 innings at AAA. It's kind of not worth mentioning there. But what are you thinking for Justin? Is he worth grabbing and maybe using in the right matchups, or is this just a pretty much ignore for the most part at this point?
I think I'm ignoring him in most leagues. I think he's probably like NL only, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, his command looks good. It's just the Dodgers have so many arms, right? So it's like, how much is he really gonna? How much is he gonna really throw? I don't know, man. I kind of ignored him in my leagues. I actually even ignored him in my NL only league. I don't know. He looks okay. The Dodgers will, give the opportunity for wins. It looks like he has good command. He doesn't really have the strikeouts. But yeah, I mean, I could see maybe in any league, if the matchup is right and he's throwing and he's a streamer off of waivers, I would stream him. Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who throws with his velocity, he can get up to 98, 99. So anybody with that kind of velocity is interesting to some extent, but I believe I'm with you in that this is probably more of a spot start, sixth man type of situation. And then on top of that is just the amount of arms, as you mentioned, that the Dodgers have and can kind of throw at the situation. So I'm not against starting him in the right matchups, but I don't think it's really going to be somebody that you're going to be counting on consistently. Just when he goes against the dregs of the league, it's probably not too bad.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Moving over to Miami, Tim Anderson, who, he was still in the major leagues. He got DFA'd finally. Xavier Edwards has been recalled. He started the issue with a foot issue. And in AAA so far, he has 26 games, a home run, 5 stolen bases. He's hitting 330, 376, 450. How do you feel about Xavier Edwards, Greg?
Yeah. I think he's probably, he's probably got playing time, which for NO only, that helps. Absolutely. I don't see any other reason. Like, he is, I don't know. I mean, he looks really kind of, I don't know. I mean, he's got speed. So I guess if he runs, okay. I mean, maybe he gets into something. I don't know. In NL only, like, obviously everyone is rosterable who's in the NL. So I think he's probably, he might be a 15-team mixed league guy if he gets hot and, if he runs. If he runs, he's a 15-team league guy, 15-team mixed league guy. I don't see that for like right now. I haven't seen enough, and he looks kind of boring, right? I mean, he doesn't really, he seems kind of like, I don't know. I mean, supposedly he has 70 grade speed. So, I mean, if he runs, then yeah, why not? Absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, he has, in 39 games, he is hitting 300. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. Maybe he has, he has some contact, and if he gets on base, he can run. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I could warm up to him real fast if he starts stealing bases.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's. I mean, I do feel like I like him more than what you're saying. There's definitely a good hit tool here. He has speed. He could definitely fit kind of a it's like Stephen Kwan, Bryce Terang, Mason Wynn type of thing. Like they have completely different numbers, but I feel like they're all still kind of the same guy, just with different organizations, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like high average, low strikeout, gonna get on base a little bit. And I think Edwards may get on base better than any of them, other than maybe Kwan. And he has some speed, so it really kind of depends on how much the Marlins are going to let him run, how much run support there is, which is the Marlins, so probably not a ton on that side. So that's not going to help him any, which is unfortunate because you kind of need that as the guy that he's trying to be, at least for our game.
Right. Yeah.
That being said, I have no problem running him out there and using him, as a middle infielder if you're struggling or dealing with some injuries, because I don't think he's going to hurt you, Gray. He may not boom, but I don't think he's going to hurt you. I think I'd probably, he's kind of what you want from Bo Bichette at this point.
Yeah, no, totally.
High average, sit at the top of the lineup, give me runs, give me counting.
No, I'm absolutely me and you both hate Bo Bichette.
I know you're off the Bo Bichette, so I'm just saying for people still hanging on to him.
I'm off of the boat Bichette. I think he's like, if he runs, I mean, I don't know. Now that you're opening my eyes to him. Maybe there's something to Xavier Edwards. I don't know. It's not unheard of that a guy who has 70 grade speed is actually worthwhile in fantasy, even though he really doesn't have like a huge prospect pedigree. So yeah, I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't absent of prospect pedigree. It just fallen off quite a bit in recent times.
True.
Parker Meadows, he was recalled by Detroit. He also may be heading to the IL as we speak with a hamstring injury, but I felt like he needed to be discussed if it's not that serious and he doesn't go to the IL, because he did start off really well in 3 games with a home run and a stolen base. And he's got some hits, obviously, with that going. We've seen him up at the major league level before. It tends to be low average. But what do you think about Parker Meadows?
Oh, I was so crazy about Parker Meadows prior to his hamstring injury. I do my fab usually on Saturday, and then I just double check it on Sunday to make sure I don't bid on anyone who gets injured. And Parker Meadows was, I think it was like James Wood, Brooks Lee, Parker Meadows, but Parker Meadows wasn't that far below Brooks Lee. I really wanted Parker Meadows in a few leagues where I needed an outfielder because Julio Rodriguez sucks. But unfortunately, I have now picked up Adam Duvall instead of Parker. How sad is that? I really liked Parker Meadows a lot, but I think he's injured. I mean,
I think he's heading to the IL.
AJ Hinch said it wasn't good, and when a manager says it's not good, it's not good.
And it's probably horrendous. He's probably done for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I don't want it to happen. Please, Parker Meadows, be okay. Let's move on, Gray. Joey Ortiz is going to the IL for the Brewers. They have called up Vinny Capra this year in AAA. He had 68 games, 4 runs, 5 stolen bases. hitting 246, 333, 350, 21% K rate, 11.5% walk rate. Anything here, Gray?
Did you say
Boy, if you thought Xavier Edwards was boring.
Capra? It's a Wonderful Life, Frank Capra. Oh man, no, Vinny Capra looks really bad. He looks unrosterable even in NL only as of right now. So I mean that gives you an idea where we're at with Capra. I wouldn't go near him. Anyway,
agreed. Moving on. Another one we probably don't talk too much about, but Joey Meneses was sent down by Washington. He had really struggled in June, hitting under the Mendoza line. And a familiar name from, I think, like 6 other teams is Juan Yepez. He has been selected to come up and take his place this year in 74 games at AAA. Yepez has 11 home runs, 3 stolen bases. He's hitting 263, 357, 438, 14% K rate, and 12.5% walk rate. I mean, kind of the same guy, right?
Joey Menendez. It's Joey Menendez, but Latino,
but not currently tanking.
It's Joey Menendez. Joey Menendez listening to Ricky Martin. Juan Yepez is probably as boring as anyone else we've mentioned. And I don't think Juan Yepez really has any outside of 15-team mixed league. I guess if you're really struggling find a corner man, and he's and Juan Yepez is like in the middle of the lineup, sure, but he's super boring. I mean, he's basically Joey Menendez. He's Joey Menendez, and then you have Joey Menudo. There you go.
Yeah, so Meneses, if he was worth owning in your league prior, then Yepez might be worth owning, and that's pretty much the guideline that I would go with, Gray. Christian Scott was recalled for the Mets. In AAA this year, he had 42 1/3, 9 starts, 2.76 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, 33.5% K rate, 7.3% walk rate. Christian Scott sounds pretty interesting based on those numbers, Gray. Do you agree he's interesting, or is this more of a numbers may not tell the whole truth situation?
No, I think Christian Scott's interesting. I grabbed him in I think he's a streamer in probably 12-team mixed leagues and shallower. In a 15-team mixed league, I would grab him. I think he's probably at worst you start him in good matchups and bench him in bad ones, but I think he's probably worth rostering in most leagues. 12-team mixed league, I streamed him and then dropped him. So, in the 12-team mixed league, he's probably on and off of waivers until we see more, at least. But yeah, I mean, he looks good to me. I don't have a problem with him.
Oh yeah, I like him too. He's the number 1 pitching prospect in the Mets system for whatever that's worth. So I mean, he does come with some pedigree here. The K rate is obviously there, so he can put up numbers for our game. I do believe he's probably more in the streamer category for now in the shallower leagues, but not necessarily shying away from him early. Would run him out there in the right matchups, Gray, and more so than some of the other guys we've talked about to this point. Trey Lipscomb was recalled. AAA this year, he had 34 games, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. He had 290, 336, 427. He said 40 games in the majors. He had 1 home run, 10 stolen bases, and he hit 228. Is that are you interested in Trey Lipscomb at all?
No.
Okay. Let's move on then. Aaron Civale was traded from Tampa Bay to Milwaukee for Gregory Barrios. Civale had solid numbers on the season, but his first start for Milwaukee was not great. 5 innings, 4 earned. He gave up 3 home runs, 2 to Will Smith. 8 Ks, 3 walks. That was Will Smith's 3 home run game. So just was not the right day to go against Will Smith. But what happens? Any change in Aaron Civale's value as he makes this move, Gray?
I had Ben Rice have a 3-homer game on Saturday. Anyway, Civale, I mean, suddenly he seems, well, actually not suddenly. It seems like it was a problem earlier in his career, but he's really allowing a lot of homers. You mentioned with Will Smith, but I mean, just in general, his homers per 9 is really high. It's kind of like unstartable in a lot of leagues if he's going to give up that many home runs. I do like, it's funny because the Rays are known for turning pitchers around, but the Brewers are kind of like the same, but in the NL. Like they both are really good teams for to get the most out of pitching. So it'll be interesting to see what the Brewers can get out of Civale. I think he looks interesting if he can keep the ball in the park. Right now, that's been a real issue for him. He looks good under the hood if it's not besides the homers allowed. So if he can somehow, if he can get the ball down, which has been a real issue for him, but if he can get the ball down, he could be good. I probably would not risk it outside of like maybe if the matchup was good in a 15-team mixed league. But in like most leagues, I wouldn't risk it until you saw something good.
Yeah, I would agree. I would wait for some kind of turnaround before you throw him out there in most leagues. Maybe you could start him in the right matchups away from Milwaukee, but that's about as risky as I think I'm going to be with Civale at this point. Let's move on to bullpens, Gray. Plenty of stuff happened this week. Edwin Diaz was activated. How do you think the Mets bullpen shapes out rest of season?
I think it's Diaz is the guy, assuming he doesn't, have an injury or look terrible again. I think he's the guy though. I mean, they're paying him to be the closer. He's the closer. I can't picture Edwin Diaz for a long period of time coming into the games in like the 7th inning. It just doesn't feel plausible to me. So I would say Edwin Diaz is the guy.
Yeah, I agree. David Bednar should return soon. Once he's back, he's the guy. That's pretty much all I have to say on that situation. The Cubs continue to have a terrible bullpen, Gray. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of names out here. Hunter Biggie was called up by the Cubs. He was actually the closer for the minor league team. So maybe if they're just trying to transfer that quality in people because nobody else seems to have it. Luke Little, Tyson Miller, Porter Hodge. Do you have a favorite amongst this just crap group of bullpen that the Cubs have set up here, Gray?
They're really, my favorite for the Cubs saves in the second half is Tanner Scott. That's my favorite there.
Yeah, I really hope they don't do that because we suck. I don't really want us to give up anything for anything because we're terrible, Gray. We're not a good team. We had one good month to start the season, and that's been the entire.
That's fair. And if they don't go and get Tanner Scott because the Orioles have gone and gotten Tanner Scott, and I'd say Hector Neris is probably the nearest to a closer in Chicago. But I would not. I mean, I have him in one league, and I actually have him. He's been perma benched for me in that league. I haven't started him in a while. I don't need saves that bad.
As he should be. He should be perma-benched. Speaking of needing saves bad, I meant to mention this off the top, Gray, but it's about damn time you took my trade offer in the Perts League. I saw it needed another Josh Hader blow up to finally get it done.
I didn't even, the thing with like the fan tracks, like I don't pay attention. Like I'm on fan tracks. Like the window is open. My team is open right now. Like I have it, but I never look at that little box for trade notifications. So I happened to see it yesterday, and it didn't even matter what Josh Hader or anyone did. Like, you want to trade me Aaron Judge for Josh Hader and Robert Suarez? Take Robert Suarez and Josh Hader, man. I'll take Aaron Judge all day for those two guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, and for anybody yelling at their listening or watching device right now that you shouldn't be paying attention to me, I just want to point out this is the Perts League. I have 11, 12, 12 points in runs, home runs, and RBIs. I don't need Aaron Judge anymore. I have like a 30 home run lead built already, and I literally have 4 saves. So I need closers. Nobody will deal them to me. I literally sent every offer for every closer I could. This is not a league that trades. So if you want something, unfortunately, this is what I had to do.
I got Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I needed Gunnar Henderson in his steals more than I needed Judge in his, home runs. So that's what we're doing, Gray.
Oh man, you had Aaron Judge and Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, because it was very doable. Why wouldn't I? I also got C.J. Abrams.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's why my offense is just cruising, and Kyle Tucker. Like,
wow,
when he comes back.
And Kyle Tucker? Oh my God!
I don't need Aaron Judge. I need closers.
Wow. What did you? What was your draft pick? 12?
That's a good question. I don't remember where I was. I was number 8.
8. Wow. And Aaron
Kyle Tucker, Judge, Gunnar in the 3rd, Abrams in the 4th.
So Judge fell to the 2nd round in that draft?
He did. You took Trey Turner.
Oh,
and somebody on the corner took Matt Olson.
Actually, Trey Turner hasn't been bad, but that's a bad call.
He was hurt. It's not really that bad. Like I think we both probably had Trey Turner right around Aaron Judge. It wasn't obscene. Let's move on though. Okay. On the other side of Chicago, they also have no relievers. Michael Kopech had another blow up. They just keep running him out there. I think this is a similar situation there. You just avoid unless you are absolutely desperate, Gray.
Yeah, no, I would avoid the White Sox. To me are like the Rockies, and the Cubs are getting there. But yeah, I wouldn't mess with Kopech or John Brebbia.
I think Brebbia has actually been solid. I would take him if that's the one, but
yeah,
he's not getting saves.
No, I mean Brebbia has a 4.63 ERA. I wouldn't. It's just not worth it. He has 2 saves on the year. What do I want with that? I don't want that.
It's the White Sox, so they might get like 5 save opportunities rest of season.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with them.
Yep. So since you just traded to him, and since we talked about him, Josh Hader, any danger after taking another loss?
He looks bad when I don't
He's
know.
Just giving homers. Like his home runs have been
home run allowed or just like every 3rd batter he's giving up a home run. His home runs his homer per 9 is exactly the same as Civale. Because we were just talking about him. Anyway, yeah, I think
he's a closer. That's a little different.
I think Josh Hader is I think he's fine. I traded him to you because I need/want Aaron Judge. I didn't trade him.
You need Aaron Judge.
I didn't trade him to you because I thought like Josh Hader was bad. I think he's fine. I don't think he's not a top 3 closer like he was or what we thought he was coming into the year. But I think he's probably maybe top 7. Ish.
Yeah, I'd say he's right after the top 5, probably.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I traded you Suarez and Hader. I'd probably want Suarez more than Hader.
Yeah, no, I wanted Suarez more than Hader too. Suarez was the top one, and I was like, well, Hader's the next best one you got, and you had the best combo of a top closer, and then the next one, which was Hader. So that's pretty much where I went. Was just I would have loved to get Class A. He's been phenomenal this season. But I think the next closer available on said team was like a part-timer or not, not somebody I wanted to move somebody like Judge for. So that's why you got that offer, Gray. Jeff Hoffman, Jose Alvarado, they literally split saves back-to-back days. So it's just going to be a little bit of a headache there if you're trying to chase down saves. But good news is they're both still giving you pretty solid numbers, at least.
Yeah, no, completely.
All right, great. Give people some waivers. I'll give them streamers, and we'll get out of here.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier Jose Miranda. I think he had 12 straight hits, 12 of his last 13. And then Baldelli benched him because, well, of course. Why wouldn't you bench that? I mean, you have Trevor Larnack. Why would you want to Jose Miranda? Anyway, Jose Miranda's been hot. Also, Rowdy Tellez has been hot. He had a couple homers, I think, in the past week. Luis Garcia Jr., the Nationals middle infielder, he's been really hot. He had he had 3 homers, I think, last week. Helio Ramos has been hot. Giants outfielder. John Singleton, he's blocking Loperfido, whatever. It's never happened. John Singleton's been hot. Max Schumann, Oakland A's shortstop. He's been hot. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. but he's been hitting 385 in the last week with 2 homers. So anyway, he's hot. Colt Keith, maybe. Finally, the Tigers middle infield / third baseman eligibility has been hot. Maybe he's finally coming into his own. Carson Kelly, according to the 7-day player rater, Carson Kelly's been hot. That's news to me. Dane Myers on the Marlins is top 15 for the last week, hitting 545 for the last week. I implore people to look at our 7-day player rater because you want hot bats. They're all here. Lawrence Butler, Oakland A's outfielder, he's been hot. Who's also been hot? Adam Duvall. That's why I picked him up off of waivers. We'll see what happens there. And then finally, Jack Slawinski, he's available in some leagues, and I think he should probably be picked up because if there's a guy who can get picked up off of waivers right now who could be a top 30 outfielder in the second half, Slawinski has that potential. So I would grab him. Anyway.
Yeah, I really like Slawinski in the preseason, Gray, and it didn't come together immediately, but it could definitely happen. He's got a lot of tools. The A's kind of you throw names out from them, and it's kind of like the major league movies where it's they're looking at the lineups who the hell are these guys? I don't recognize a single name on here. That's what it felt like. It just
the A's went from Moneyball to no Moneyball.
Just without the winning, they don't turn it around and win. That doesn't happen.
And no money.
Or ball. They don't even play with baseballs anymore. They're playing with little squishy balls. They just blow up. Streaming options, great. Sean Manaea versus Colorado. Tobias Myers versus Pittsburgh. Tyler Anderson versus Seattle. Ryan Nelson's actually been solid recently. That's very rare versus Toronto. Andrew Heaney at Houston. Drew Thorpe versus Washington. Jose Quintana gets a 2-step versus Washington versus Colorado. That's about as good as that one gets. Albert Suarez versus the Cubs. Matt Waldron versus Atlanta. Luis Ortiz at the White Sox. David Peterson at Washington. Patrick Corbin at the Mets. Great. That's a bunch of streamers. I've really enjoyed watching Waldron's knuckleball this year. That's been fun to watch catchers deal with. As a former catcher, I can appreciate how impossible that must be.
Mm-hmm.
If you have specific questions, always you can come out to Twitter. I am at RazBeaton. Gray is, of course, the owner of the @Razzball account. Follow us on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy. Comment out there if you have any questions. Subscribe to that or wherever you get your podcasts. Great. Until next week, I'll talk to you later. Good luck, everybody, with your teams, and let's get it before the All-Star break.
All right, Lates.